Hello, I'm Dennis Pullin. Nurses are the largest subset of Virtua's workforce, and we're fortunate to have thousands of talented nurses across the organization. Each nurse has a distinct journey and story, and today, I get to speak with one of them. So I'm excited to speak with Dave Dovell. Dave's a nurse who actually wrote a book to help other new nurses be successful. I know you're relatively new to Virtua, so tell me a little bit about the team you work with and how things are going.
Thank you for having me. I'm over at Voorhees PCU. It's the progressive care unit. We're essentially an ICU step down. It is a very busy floor. It's a little bit different than what I'm used to. We get a great variety of patients, and I'm learning a lot. The team that I've been working with has been extraordinary.
And how long have you been working with the team?
I started in January, so we're into May now. I'm a brand new nurse. You know, it's come full circle.
So you're a brand new nurse, and now you're a brand new author. Congratulations on your book. Tell me a little bit about this book.
You know, during COVID, it was a very difficult time for nurses and everybody. But you know, nurses were disproportionately affected by the hardships of the pandemic, and we saw a lot of challenges becoming exacerbated within the profession. New nurses that were coming in from nursing school backgrounds. They didn't even have clinicals. They didn't even see patients. They were seeing human patients for the first time during their first weeks on their job.
During COVID.
During COVID. It was extremely challenging. I've always enjoyed teaching. Actually, initially went to school to be a teacher and then found my way into nursing. And so I was taking new nurses under my wing at my previous hospital and precepting them. I enjoyed the experience, and I thought that writing a book like this would be an opportunity to reach more people and instill more confidence in the new nurses coming in the profession so we can keep them.
So what are the key themes or takeaways from the book?
That it's okay to get started with some deficits in terms of confidence, your knowledge. When you're a new nurse, you get to be new. You get to be new in the profession. And it's okay to not know everything, but that you can be confident to come in, and armed with some of the advice and the tips and things like that in the book, I think that new nurses will come in and begin their orientations a little bit more confident to get started.
So how did you enjoy the process? So being a nurse, it is constant movement. Things are changing rapidly, and you never know what you're going to be faced with on a day-to-day basis. I would think to write a book, you have to sort of still yourself in a very quiet mode. What was that like for you?
It was different. It was a different dynamic to sit down and write. One of the challenges was getting myself organized, but I was able to read up on some strategies, and I used a lot of checklists. I used a lot of outlines. Essentially, the book is just a series of expanded outlines. I kept flushing it out until all of my thoughts were down on paper. And then I sat down, read through my very first draft of it, and said, oh, God. And I had to rewrite most of it. And I said, this is not flowing. This is not working. So the organization was a lot more challenging than actually writing and getting the thoughts down.
How's the response been from colleagues, family, friends when they find out that you have written a book, and those that have actually read it? What's been the response?
It's been overwhelmingly positive. I've been extremely grateful to put the book in front of some very, very experienced nurses. My foreword was written by Ann Allowin, who is a 35-plus year nursing veteran who now runs a nursing blog called Nurse Advocate. Allie Gorman, who was formerly on Channel 6 as their healthcare correspondent, grabbed a copy and she read it over and loved it. And all the people that I work with, you know, they wanted to support me. So, you know, they were going to get a copy whether it was lousy or not.
Is this a new path for you? Do you think you'll ever write another book? And if so, what would that be about?
It's a thought I've had, and I've gotten a lot of, that's been part of the feedback from my colleagues. They said that, oh, you've got to write one to help student nurses. You've got to write one to help new grad nurses. You have to talk about the interview process, how to build a resume up, and things like that. So there's plenty of content. There's a lot of ideas. I'm getting my feet under me right now on the PCU, making sure that I'm taking care of my patients. When I get a little bit more comfortable there, I might approach the idea.
So were you an avid reader, was drawn to books for any particular reason, or do you have a favorite, all-time favorite book that you've read?
The one book that I read a long time ago that I read in one night I wasn't able to put down was And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. It was a mystery. It was sort of the original whodunit. So that was a real page-turner. But I've always read books. I used to... I actually faked a fear of going to sleep in the dark so that I could have just enough night lights in my room to read after I'd gone to bed.
Right.
Yeah, so I got used to actually hearing the sound of my parents turning the TV off and loading the dishwasher, and then I would quick shut off all the lights and put my books down.
So if there was one thing that I would ask you to share with me that's in this book that you would want any and every person that read it to walk away with, what would it be?
One of the chapters that I'm most proud of is towards the end of the book, and it deals with the emotional side of nursing. We as nurses are in a very unique position that we witness miracles and we witness absolute tragedies. And there's no class that you could take in nursing school to prepare you for the emotional side of nursing. I thought that I worked as an EMT for 7 years in a 911 system. I was an emergency room technician over at Lady of Lourdes in Camden while I was in school. I thought I had a pretty good handle on these very emotional circumstances. And I talk about in the book losing a patient and having the family bedside when it happened. And I didn't have the words. And if it wasn't for the charge nurse that was working with me, who was a saint, and she came in and she kind of took over the situation, and I just kind of took it all in. But just that it's okay to laugh with your patients. It's okay to cry with your patients. Nursing is a very human profession. And I don't think that there's any way to prepare for that. So I try to introduce that concept to the readers of the book so that when they enter the profession, they're in front of human patients that they're responsible for. At least they've heard it, they've seen it through the accounts that are here, and hopefully then they can relate that information to what's happening in front of them.
I think you did an excellent job of pointing that out. It's loud and clear. And so I think anyone that has an opportunity to read the book will extract that as well. Speaking of which, where can folks find a copy?
It's on Amazon. You can get it shipped to you. It'll show up in 2 days if you have Prime. And it's 5 stars. I want to keep that going. That's part of the great feedback. And one thing that I would also say to new nurses, I know how many pages a student nurse reads. And I wrote this as if I am sitting down and having a conversation with the reader. I kept it simple. It's light. It's not a heavy read at all for anybody that just got wrapped up doing all the academic side of nursing. So I tried to keep it as approachable as possible.
And I think you accomplished that. And I think it's a good read, not only for new nurses, but experienced nurses as well. It's always great for us to be reminded as to why we join the professions that we're actually in. Thank you so much for sharing it with me. Thank you so much for the work that you do here at Virtua. And without question, thank you for being here for good.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I really appreciate you having you on. It is my hope that others will have an opportunity to read Dave's book, and we look forward to sharing other colleagues in some of those special things that each of us do on a daily basis. So tune in again for Here for Good, the Inside Edition.